to another episode of the Fanzone Podcast, your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Good evening, one and all, and welcome to episode 43 of the preview show, brought to you by the Fanzone Podcast, and as always, sponsored by Leanne over at Loving My Socials. Details of all our sponsors, obviously, on our website, www.thefanzonepod.co.uk. But just to give you a bit of a background as to what Loving My Socials is all about, what Leanne does, social media marketing, graphic design, all that lovely stuff. So small to medium-sized businesses, if you need support with anything that related, Billy No Mates tonight, Leslie, then obviously give her a shout. Right, so, I am flying solo. So, as you know, I'll be clicking around, pressing buttons. I don't know what we do and making a general mess of everything. But as you can see, we're joined this evening by Corey Bissell.
Yes, there you go. First time, nailed it.
Got it. Corey is a sports writer and a supporter of Wigan Athletic, obviously. That's why he's here. So just before we came on air, I was talking to Corey about what he does. Corey, do you want to just give the viewers a bit of a background in terms of what the sports writing entails and what you do?
Yep. So basically, I am a journalism student at Salford Uni, but I write for a company called Vavel, who are like an online sort of news kind of magazine format thing. Basically just do match reports, previews, reviews, pre-match quotes, bits, all sorts really, opinion pieces, everything. Excellent.
Is it just football, local football, or is it sport generally? What does it cover?
Yeah, so they do football. I'm pretty sure they do boxing as well. So bit of a range, not just all football. NFL, I'm pretty sure, is on there.
Excellent. Good stuff. Right. Okay. We've already got a bit of a busy chat going on, so let's not make it too busy, people, because it's me. But let's get straight into it. As always, we'll start with a bit of a précis of the season so far. So this Saturday, 12:30 kick-off at the Tough Sheets, the Reebok. Bolton Wanderers face Wigan Athletic. Oh God, here we go again. In Sky Bet League One. So in terms of league position, obviously Bolton 7th on 30 points. Wigan currently sit 19th in League One on 20 points. Have you had a points deduction this season again? Joke. Sorry, mate. Couldn't resist. There's going to be digs. Feel free to dig.
We may as well have.
Got to set the scene, mate. Let's be realistic. So, but obviously, I won't go into too much detail about the Bolton season so far because we all know. But if you could just give us a bit of a rundown into where Wigan are at. Obviously, the last couple of games haven't been great, but prior to that, it wasn't too bad. So, Corey, I will leave it to you.
Oh, where do I begin? Right. The majority of the season, to be honest, pretty grim viewing. When we lose, we tend to lose in bad ways. When we win, we tend to win in good ways. It's all over the place. We absolutely battered Bristol Rovers. It's one of the best we've looked all season. 4-0 away. When we're on form, we're on form. But young squad, little investment in the summer, too many loan players sort of trying to gel together. It's not coming together on a consistent basis at all, and that's, I suppose, why we are 19th in the league.
Yeah. It seems to be... I was looking at the stats in terms of... because our goal difference isn't phenomenal. We're only on +1, but we scored 28 in the league this season. There seems to be a lack of a cutting edge. Is that fair to say in terms of a reliable goal scoring threat?
Definitely. I mean, you look at our defensive record, we're the second best defence in the league.
Bang on.
We just can't put the ball in the back of the net. I know I just said that we beat Bristol 4-0, but they're on days where it really just comes together. But I don't know. We don't have a Charlie Wyke anymore. We don't have a Will Grigg. There's no number 9 that's willing to put the team on his back and put goals in the back of the net when we really need it in games that we are dominating. So there's been a lot this season of dominating games, passing teams off the park. They go and score a corner and we can't equalise.
Crazy. Who's your top goal scorer this season?
Probably Telo Asgard on 4.
I was going to say he's Asgard. Yeah, cracking player.
I imagine so, yeah.
One of the things I'll flick across to some questions which are flying in at the moment. Obviously, it's a big game. It's a local derby. A lot at stake. Oh, here he is. You're in good company because fan of the show, but strangely, Wigan Athletic fan Hugh is in the chat. Yeah, he joins us every pod. Usually just to have a bit of a dig, but good content. So Hugh, good evening. Evening, boys. Up the ticks and all that, says Hugh. But one of the questions that's been raised, which is from subscriber and paid member Brandon. I didn't think he was that low, is it? Hearing that under 2,000 tickets have been sold. What on earth is going on? Is that a reflection of the season so far, or is that just nonsense?
I'm not sure if it's under 2K, but I can't see us selling out this time, which we usually do.
Yeah.
It's definitely a reflection on the season. I mean, like I said, when we lose in bad ways. And when you're coming up against Bolton, who are a good team, admittedly, when you're up for it, you're a good team. Yeah. It's weird because this is usually an enjoyable game for us, but I'm really dreading it.
I've seen it, and I'm not as active as I used to be on X, Twitter. And normally the sort of week leading up is, there's a lot of banter, as you'd expect. There's a lot of psychological warfare going on and stuff. And I thought that's what it was. I thought they're just trying to play it down. But the consistent kind of opinion with Wigan fans is, apart from Hugh, who's saying it's soon to be 11 years since we beat Wigan. Thanks, Hugh. That you think that the 10-year dominance, which is what it's been, let's be realistic about it. Form's gone out the window, and it's obviously last couple have been a drubbing, but it just seems very, very negative around the potential outcome on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the last few years really, the last couple of times that we've played you, sort of. We have been the underdog, which is no different to how it is now, but this time feels different. It doesn't feel like we have it in us necessarily to turn up. What we've always had is a clinical edge, and you can see by our goal difference this season, our goals for it's just not there this season. Yeah, our forwards just don't have. I can't see our forwards coming and putting 4 past you, whereas usually we're in poor form, but we've got Will Keane and Charlie Wyke and Callum Lang and Stephen Humphreys, and we don't have any of them anymore.
You know what? I think out of everything, that's been the thing that stood out for me. There's, games between us have always been dominated by a McLean, a White, a Lang, a Humphreys, and they just don't seem to be. When I look at the team sheet, it just doesn't seem to be any of those names that sort of jump off the page and make you sort of think, "Oh, don't fancy that."
No, I think unless one of our younger players just turns up and puts a cape on the back and just decides that this is the game that they turn their fortunes at Wigan around for the season, and this is where they become a cult hero and push on. Unless that happens, I can't see it. Definitely not being a 4-0 again.
No. No, I'll not get too confident, but I have to say I must admit I'm going into it with more of a confident sort of feeling. I mean, our form's not been great. We've been up and down. Recently, it's kind of leveled out a little bit. But yeah, let's have a look. Sorry, I'm just trying to. The chat is just absolutely flying. Let's have a look here. Yeah, 10 years since we beat Wigan. Hugh says it's not just our defence that's good. It's just our defence that's good, and that's it. Obviously, one of the players that has been sort of pivotal to that has been Sam Tickle. How's his season been so far? Has he continued to impress? Is that probably why you've had such a tight defensive record?
If the season was to end tomorrow, Sam Tickle would be our player of the season, and nobody would come close.
Right.
Some of the saves that man makes, I think he could save the Titanic. Like it's ridiculous, some of the things that he pulls off. Will Aimson, he's been like a revelation. You'll know a lot about him. He's been a revelation since he came.
You know what? I'd almost forgotten about Aimson until you mentioned it. Obviously, inevitably he will pop up. And has he scored this season?
He hasn't. We're not great off set pieces either. Like we just can't score goals.
No, I think he might pop his cherry on Saturday. Sod's law, as they say. Oh no, God. Brandon asks, do you think that, I assume that's Tickle, Brandon, do you think that Sam Tickle may move on in the transfer window in January?
Nah, I can't see it. Purely because I can't see him leaving mid-season. I think the nature of transfer windows is that everyone's sort of got a settled goalkeeper in the summer.
Yeah.
Not many people change the goalkeeper at Christmas. So I can't see him going. He turned down Arsenal in the summer, being like a fourth choice keeper because he wanted to play first team football. So unless it was a Premier League team, which he wouldn't get first team football, I can't see him being willing to move anywhere. I don't want to tempt fate, but I can't see him being.
No. It's fair. No, it's a fair point. It is a fair point. Radix, again, long time follower of the show. I only found out today that Andy Lonergan is Wigan's number 2.
Not quite.
I was going to say, that's true.
He's our number 3, probably.
Right.
He's signed a player coach role. He was our number 2 during pre-season, while Tom Watson, who was our under-21s goalkeeper, he's trying to follow sort of the path of Sam Tickle.
Yeah.
He was our number 2 in pre-season, Lonergan, but Watson's back now and he's been playing all the cup games. He saved every single penalty in the first knockout round of the Virtu Trophy. So Tom Watson's firmly our number 2. It's one of them. If Sam Tickle does leave in January, we would bring in a goalkeeper, but I would imagine that Tom Watson would probably, they'd look to move Tom Watson into the first team, to be honest, once Tickle's gone.
Yeah. So Lonergan's now more of a sort of coaching capacity, similar to how we were with Matt Jokes, I guess, really, isn't it? Yeah. Fair. No problem. Right. Moving on, he says, when I find the button. Let's have a look at how the lineups are likely to look on Saturday with our injury updates. So, only fair that we start with our guests. So, Corey, do you want to give us a bit of a rundown in terms of how the team is looking for Saturday? Any injury concerns?
Well, this is a game that I like to call Maloney roulette, in that he tends to change the team a lot. So it's difficult to know who's actually injured and who he's just rotating and all that. I know that Dion Rankine won't be there. He's out until near the end of the season. Tyrese Francois isn't fit. Joe Hugel came back into the team against Chesterfield, but to be honest, even though he scored a goal, I can't see him. He's not made the bench in most games.
Oh, right.
Okay. They've not mentioned any injury, So I can't see him being in the squad again. Other than that, I'm pretty sure we're okay.
Decent then.
Somebody.
Yeah. Fair. Well, moving on to Bolton. Not great. Obviously, we're going to be missing most creative midfield influence in Josh Geeney's two or 3 weeks away from a return. Hopefully, he'll feature across the Christmas period with a hamstring injury. Kyle Dempsey, knee injury. I believe he's now back on the grass, but it's going to be a couple of weeks again moving into the Christmas period. Same with Owen Toll with his hamstring. Carlos Mendes Gomez, ironically, who ruptured his Achilles at Wigan in February, not far away from a return, which is good news, finally. But the major news, Scotty Arfield, midfield dynamo, I'm sorry, I'm being ridiculously sarcastic, suffered a calf injury, but will be back in training next week. So, bit of good news. Let's have a look at the chat. Jim, McManaman got to be starting, surely, prime candidate to stick it on us from the off. Thoughts on that, Corey?
I think McManaman will start. It depends how we want to set up. If Maloney has a tendency to sometimes enter games with a bit of, or like in moments in games, have a negative mindset. Yeah. One of our wingers, Soko Thomas, he's really good defensively, but he's a winger, and that's not what he's there to do.
Right.
McManaman, similar kind of thing. He can absolutely turn it on in the final third and like turn a man 4 times and cross a worldie into the box, and he'll get an assist. But really, if you start him McManaman, it's with the idea that, like you said, he'll stick it on you and he'll put a crunching tackle in 5 minutes. But I think that's what we'll go with.
He's the only one that, with respect, that when I looked down the team sheet, he was the one that probably stood out in terms of that.
Yeah, definitely. Him and Scott Smith.
Yeah.
I think Scott Smith will start against you. He's out the academy, 22, 23 now. So he's very much like that. He just starts pushing people off throw-ins and like starting fights. Scott Smith will be up for it.
That's what Saturday needs. Like, you know, we are a little bit sort of, I don't know, we can be sort of like a little bit weak sometimes in that respect, but we're starting to see a little bit more fight now. This team, I think, for the first time, as long as I can remember, one of our players actually coming out and saying how important it is and how the players realise, you know, the importance of this fixture to the fans, which is something that's been lacking in previous fixtures between Bolton and Wigan, which is just mind-blowing, really, because it's always been, you know, from Wigan's perspective, it's always been, full-blooded, get at them. So hopefully we'll see a response this coming Saturday. Right, moving on. Again, just have a quick butchers at the chat. It's not easy, this, you know, I tell you. So in terms of visiting supporters, under 2,000, no, I'm joking. It's obviously not going to be that. Where can you grab a pint? So we do tend to repeat ourselves. Obviously, it's a home game. So the most prominent away pub is the Beehive, which is 5 minutes walk from the ground on the roundabout. Obviously, with it being a derby game, the Middlebrook itself will be likely out of bounds for away supporters. The Fanzone itself always out of bounds for away supporters. It is season ticket holders only. But we did get a message a couple of weeks ago from someone saying that the Royal Oak is also a decent boozer for away fans. Again, I don't know. It's one of those you're going to have a look at in terms of police announcements, etc. With it being such a big away college, allegedly. So those are the prime locations for a pint pre-match. In terms of serving beer in the stadium, again, not sure. Have a quick butchers on the website. I know that the official club website puts out a match pack for away fans. So, yeah, Brandon says, please don't infect the Royal Oak. I like their carvery and I don't want to. Oh, I warned you, mate. Sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, hang on. Brandon is saying that I sound like I'm underwater.
Don't sound that bad on my end.
No. I think Brandon's probably listening in the bath again. An image that I don't want to dwell on. So, without further ado, let's get down to business. No, I'm getting feedback from the rest of the chat that I'm fine. Thank you, David. For a moment on mine, it sounded like you were super muffled, but hopefully that is all right. So, prediction time.
Well, this is
again, guess first. I will bring up some in the chat, just purely for entertainment value. But Corey, it's over to you, mate. What do you think?
I'm gonna go. I have to back Wigan.
Of course,
I have to. I absolutely have to. I'm gonna go a narrow 2-1. I'm hoping. In previous years, I feel like we've broken some of your players as well by the half time. We've not quite got the players who used to pounce on the weakness of some of your players anymore, but I'm hoping McManaman, Scott Smith, they'll be able to grind you down and make you give up again by 60 minutes. I'll go a narrow 2-1.
Narrow 2-1. So we do have you in the chat, as I say. So you're in good company. Hugh's prediction as a Wigan fan is Bolton Wanderers 1, Wigan Athletic 4. So I think what he's implying there is
that's an improvement on previous years.
An improvement, exactly. Yeah. So obviously it's not been a great season for Wigan so far. So we might get a goal. I think that's what he's saying. Let's have a look at a few others. Ian, good evening. Subscribe to the show. Bolton 2, Wigan 0. Confident, like it. Radix 0-0.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
God, that'd be awful. What else? Let's have a look. Brandon, again, subscribe to the show. 2-1. We will balls up somewhere and concede. We do have a tendency to concede. Wigan to pull back a late consolation. You ready for this one? David, again, subscriber to the show. It's payback time. 4-0. Now, I'm confident, but I'm also confident that we will concede. Because we just do. It's just the way it is. I'm going to go, and I don't like doing predictions, but I'm going to go 2-1 Bolton. I think it will be tight. But I'm relatively confident of a win. John, good evening. John Lancaster predicts 3-1 to the Wanderers. Hugh has acknowledged the fact that, yeah, I got it right. We're improving and Wigan are in decline, so we'll only get beat 4-1 at home. Oh, blimey. Visit Kelly has also gone for a 0-0. So it's a real mixed bag. And I think it has been the case, as you touched on earlier, Corey, that very much like a cup game, current form goes out the window a little bit. It's who turns up on the day. And like our presenters this evening, we don't usually turn up. So we shall see. Question from David. I guess it's only fair to ask, Corey, will you be making a short trip?
I will. And I'm terrified.
You're terrified? Why?
Because it's I am before every Bolton Wigan game.
Yeah.
But especially this season, we sit 19th. 19th. And then even if we do win, if say we win 4-0 again, I'm going to have to like exhale after this game and go, we're 18th and we've got to go again.
Yeah. No, it is different. I think that the circumstances this season are different. But I'm sure I've said that before. Hugh will also be attending. He's getting a fresh trim tomorrow for the game, he's saying. Well, hang on. Let's just look at Hugh's picture, see if we can see his current trim. But saying that, I'm not one to talk about haircuts, so I won't go there. Right. Well, that just about wraps it up for this evening. Corey, thank you for joining us. I would wish you good luck on Saturday, but I'd be lying.
Yeah.
But hopefully it's a good game, better than the last few, and hopefully we can turn it around. But again, thanks for joining us, mate. Much appreciated.
Thanks for having me.
And again, I mean, the chat has been phenomenal. Thanks to everybody who's contributed this evening, even Hugh. Good luck with your haircut, mate. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. And thank you all for joining us. Come on, you Whites.
Up the ticks.
Yeah, I'll stop it.